Sports Review, where today we'll be diving quite a lot of many things that really happened. We'll be talking about the state of Kenyan football and sports in total. And of course, the ongoing series of World Rugby Series. We'll talk about the performance of the mighty Shujas. That and many more after the break. See you in a bit.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Why are you taking medicine? Are you okay?
Yes, I am. The tablet is for HIV prevention.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP, refers to antiretroviral drugs taken daily by HIV-negative people who are at ongoing risk of HIV infection to reduce their chances of becoming infected. If used consistently, PrEP can reduce the risk of HIV infection by over 90%. However, because it does not protect against unplanned pregnancy, it should always be used with a family planning method. To get PrEP and any other HIV prevention method, visit a healthcare provider. To talk to someone on PrEP, uliza NASCOP at 0800 724 848 or use direct line 0726 460 000 or 1190. This message is brought to you by the National Syndemic Disease Control Council.
Fine dining is a unique and sophisticated experience that you're not going to find in normal dining restaurants right here in our country. In this new season, we are going to be bringing you this amazing experience right in your dining tables and even in your kitchen. I'm your chef and host, John International 254, and this is your favorite show, our delicacy show.
Sasa ni bora zaidi, mwanzo mpya, mambo mapya. Msimu mwingine wa Boresha Kilimo unakuletea teknolojia ibuka, kilimo mseto, uongezaji thamani. Teknolojia dijitali ya mauzo inawezesha ufikiaji wa masoko. Soko moko yako, mahangaiko yako ya kufikia masoko yamefika kikomo, manake tunao Mkulima Yangu.
What Mkulima Yangu does is it connects farmers with the market.
Hii ni Boresha Kilimo kwa ushirikiano na Mkulima Yangu. Atafutaye hachoki na kichoka kesha pata. Kwa makala maalum ya kilimo, ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 6:30 kwenye kipindi ukipendacho Boresha Kilimo.
Unemployment has hit you hard. Your salary is meager. You decide to venture into business, but you're struggling to thrive in it. You would want to reap a big tip on how not to run into losses.
Forget the preachy business laws, the hyperbolic motivational speeches, and all the roads down desperation.
Hope has come with model stories from small successful entrepreneurs. We tell you these tales weekly on The Budding Entrepreneur. Join us as we help you make your trade profitable and often smile to the bank.
Kwa ajili ya kupendeza, ni siku njema, siku yenye baraka. Nishachomoza na amsha wote waliolala. Mana vizuri, ndugu wakiishi pamoja kwa amani. Nasikia sauti nzuri kama ya malaika, ni sauti toka mbinguni, sauti ya Mungu.
If you go back to the law of contract, there is a requirement for a contract because we have said it's a property law, but it has an element of contract in it, in that the landlord and tenants agree. In the law of contract, for you to be able to enforce a contract, it is provided that it must be evidenced in writing, especially if it is relating to land.
Ukiwa na dukuduku la michezo, tunafungua sanduku la dukuduku kwa ufahamu zaidi. Kila danadana, mitimpo, mifiatuko na harakati zote ugani, sisi ni wako mwandani. Kukurukakara zote nyanjani, haziwezi kuangaziwa zaidi ya micharazo michezoni. Mimi mwanaspoti wako matata Peter Pinches Mwaora, ndakuwa na jopo lenye maarifa sufufu, nikufahamishe na nikuburudishe wewe shabiki shakiki kwa uhakiki na kindakindaki.
I'm a freshman in Kenyatta University. This is all what I've heard about campus. Campus is full of freedom.
Ni cumulative.
Mchezo hiyo ili poka gani kwani?
I'm a fourth year student and I mostly hang out at shopping center. I'm a arboretum. And what I'd tell first years is it's never too late to start being serious.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepopa si vuguvugu. Pepopa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Lola ni programu inayokupa fursa ya kutizama video zozote pindi tu unapokuwa na nafasi. Hadithi za kukupa motisha, drama, maisha ya vyuo vikuu, teknolojia, masuala ya jamii, kuzuru maeneo tofauti, spoti, burudani na zaidi. Pata programu ya Lola sasa kwenye rununu yako kwa yote unayohitaji.
Right, back, and this is yet another exciting and amazing episode of the Sports Review, whereby we dive directly into local review, where we talk about matters to do sports, and in particular things that have just happened this particular week. And a lot have indeed happened. We are talking about the likes of Shujaz, their travel outing in their Hong Kong, and this is the beginning of the 2023 new season. Of course, many expected a lot from Shujaz, but that will come later on. Of course, we'll be taking a dive at it just to look at where the rain started beating us. We had so many hopes with our team. And one thing in particular, the issue come as good news to football lovers, fanatics, and enthusiasts in the country. After, at the end of it all, we'll be hoping to see some lights at the end of the tunnel. Remember our question of the day that we had earlier asked you, which team do you think have had the most outing in the World Cup? Keep sending your comments and thoughts, of course, on our Facebook page, that is KUTV Kenya, that is Facebook, and on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya. Remember, you can tag me along at AUEVA_012. Keep the conversation going. Remember, the hashtag to use is on the spot. And we begin with this particular headline that probably will serve us good news. And by the way, thank you so much, for making time. It has been a minute. How have you been?
I've been good. Yeah, feeling all very well.
Yeah, well, of course, tomorrow is that day. We expect, some things to happen. Arsenal versus Chelsea, of course. How will you see that particular match tomorrow?
Okay, it's another derby. In derby, many things do happen.
Alright.
But Arsenal must take the day.
When was the last time you actually beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge?
Actually, last game, last season.
Last season?
Yeah. It was a 4-2 win.
Are you for real? At Stamford Bridge?
At Stamford Bridge?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at Wembley we took the FA Cup against you guys.
That is the fair, but of course I'm telling you, tomorrow will be a day like no other. We expect to, some magic to happen, but for you, of course, to win tomorrow, it will be another form of magic.
Yeah.
But we'll see that, and we'll talk about that later on. Now, there is new sheriff in town as far as sports is concerned.
Yeah.
There is Ababu Namwamba. But before even we talk about Ababu Namwamba, let's first of all take a look at what he had to say, the promises he had to make during the time when he was reinstating the disbanded Football Kenya Federation leadership. Of course, we saw them all there. Nick Mwendwa, Barry Otieno, that is the Secretary General, and of course Vice President, that is Doris Petra. And I don't know if my director has that particular clip.
This afternoon, in line with a commitment I made yesterday. I talked to some of you here yesterday, and in my conversation with you, I did indicate that we were engaged in continuing consultations with all the football stakeholders with a view to finding a resolution to the gridlock that has held Kenyan football hostage for the last 1 year. And I did indicate that we were talking to everybody because we needed to listen to everybody and make decisions that are consensual, decisions that carry everybody along. And after my consultations with clubs, coaches, officials of the Ministry of Sports, who have been handling these matters for quite a while, today I did hold talks with the Football Kenya Federation National Executive Committee that has been under suspension. Because as you are aware, that by action taken by my immediate predecessor, Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed, this NEC had been suspended from office. And it's that suspension that led to the action of FIFA to suspend Kenya by a letter dated 24th February 2022. Excuse me. And in that letter, FIFA placed two conditions for the suspension, for the lifting of the suspension placed on Kenya. And those conditions were as follows. The FIFA Council decided that the lifting of the suspension be subject to the following conditions. Condition number one, the repeal of the Cabinet Secretary's decision of 11 November 2021 appointing the caretaker committee in lieu of the elected FKF Executive Committee. Condition number two, FIFA's receipt of confirmation from the FKF and its management.
Well, of course, that was Babu Namwamba speaking there, and there is Barry Otieno, that is the Secretary General for FKF. He also had something to say. Let's take a listen to that as we look.
I'll ask him to convey that. It is the communication of FIFA. I'll ask him to convey that communication, and after that, we will take your questions on any matter. No, it's okay. He can just read it. He can just read it. Yes.
Thank you, Waziri. So I'll just read a short statement that we have done as FKF. So on February 24th, 2022, the FIFA Council, via letter referenced SG, KGE, RTA, SS dated February 24th, decided that the lifting of Kenya's suspension by FIFA will be subject to the following conditions. There were two conditions that were given. One was that, the first condition was that there be a repeal of the Cabinet Secretary decision of November 22nd, which appointed a caretaker committee in lieu of the elected FKF Executive Committee. And two, that FIFA's receipt of confirmation from FKF and its management, led by Vice President Doris Petra and myself, that FKF and its premises are once more under our full and unconditional control. Following
what unfolded yesterday, and that this actually it's one of the key among the decisions that FIFA wanted for Kenya to be reinstated, or rather the suspension to be lifted, was one of them, of course, to reinstate FKF, of which that has happened. This signify, of course, light at the end of the tunnel after close to an year of stalemate since November, that is November 2021, when Ambassador Amina Mohamed, that is the former sports CS, disbanded the Football Kenya Federation on allegation of graft matters, and now that things seems to be really falling into place. And of course, let me dive you direct, Kevin. Now that things seems to be working on the trail, now do you think we are heading somewhere?
Yeah, I think we are heading somewhere. I think taking on the FIFA decisions and all that on the football section, it's a nice part because football is the most, but though Kenya, our backbone is athletics, but taking on a FIFA by Ababu na Mwamba, that's a great step. I saw even FIFA invited Barry Otieno to a certain meeting at Qatar just to discuss on the progress that Kenya is making to reinstate them in the world of football again. So I think Ababu na Mwamba on FIFA, he has taken a step.
Well, during his vetting, one of the key things that he highlighted, once, of course, after being sworn in, one of the things that he would have done was to, work with Kenya, and that is, he said, he will give Gianni Infantino a call just to work on process of lifting suspension.
Yeah.
And that actually we see as things, stands by, probably we might reach there. But there is much more to that than just football. Remember, these officials were suspended owing to some graft charges. One of them was the FKF president, Nick Mwendwa, Barry Otieno, then the entire disbandment of Football Kenya Federation board was disbanded due to that. Now, there is still one question that still many are asking, of course. Funds were, misused, per se, that, and we still need answers to that. Now, reinstating the former body, then that means these questions that were linger on in many of Kenyans' mind. Remember a team like, there is a team like, of course, Harambee Stars. Back then there were many issues concerning travel logistics. Questions still need to be answered. But do you think this is actually a right move, or how should we go about it in terms of accountability?
Okay, according to accountability, I think Ababu na Mwamba just cross-checked and reviewed the few individuals that were in the body, the former body, the disbanded body, and came up with just two maybe. That's Barry Otieno and the other lady. So Nick Mwendwa missing in the action, yeah, I think it's quite something. But though the questions being asked on the graft allegations, I think we still need answers.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Nick Mwendwa is not on the picture, but probably, who knows, maybe. It's only a matter of time before we see him, because he was there in the meeting. We saw him yesterday. He was there, and he's the main suspect per se, something like that. But we do hope all of these questions that are being asked will be answered. Well, there is much more to just football. We still have ailing. Actually, the sports sector is ailing. We have things like doping that is now become a common denominator in Kenyan, athletics. So many, close to 25 athletes have been reported, of course, to have violated the doping rule. There is something that he will have to, fight, or rather fight against, because it's tarnishing the Kenyan reputation. And still, there is so many things that are happening. Of course, when you look at cricket, look at volleyball federation, so many things just for him to iron out. Do you see a man who will, of course, jump into action and try to bring sanity in our sports that is ailing?
Yeah, I think he will bring the sanity back, being that he worked in the docket back way when Kibaki was in power. Babu Namamba will work. Yeah, he will bring back the sanity. I hope so. I believe in him. He will work. Yeah. He got what it takes.
But there is still an issue of probably stale project. We're talking about stadium that was supposed to be built 10 years ago until now. Some, of course, at completion stages. A few have been completed, and some, it remained to be a mystery when it will be completed. How things went, nobody really knows. I know this one, it will be a long shot, but we really need to see action. So do you think this is just talk to please, or action as he demonstrates?
We need action as he demonstrates, just like the way he did with the FIFA, the 4 agendas. Let's give him time to first complete his 4 agendas. That's including the doping and the FIFA thing, so that he can finish with that. Then let's see what he can do now. From there, what next for him? If he's able, we'll see the actions of the stadiums coming through, or whatever happens, or the story that happened. We shall see them. We shall see.
All right. We hope actually he will jump to action. Many Kenyans are really, banking on him, because we really need sanity to see how our sports will, transit from the next probably 5 years of Kenya Kwanza administration, or during that time that he will be in power. Because during this time we have seen, the way many teams have, folded their hands. We're talking about a team like Mathare United that has been known to be a hub for talent in the Kenyan Premier League. A team like that folding because of lack of finances, and so many things have happened. Players failing to travel. It reached a point where we just have to, marshal just to see a national team traveling out of the country to participate in international tournament. It's so sad to see that. Now we want to move on to some other thing, and that is Hong Kong Sevens. The 2023 edition, that is series of the Hong Kong Seven, actually began yesterday, and of course Kenya played their first match against Ireland, and it was quite disappointing. And today in the morning they played against Argentina, and this Argentina team have really been a thorn in Shuja's flesh. And things happen as things turned. Out of 2 games played, no single win for Team Kenya, and they're doing well in that position. And actually they're just hoping probably their next match, that will be against Canada, they will at least try to redeem themselves. But having said so, it is done and dusted as far as this particular tournament is concerned. They'll have to wait for another edition of Hong Kong. And before we even dive into this particular Hong Kong thing and discuss a lot about this, let's take a look at the entire Hong Kong preparation, anticipation, what people actually expected from players, and even outside sports. There is some other industries that really depend on Hong Kong, because this is a hub for entertainment, for sports, everything, enterprise. Put it all together, mixed up with a bit of a touch of fun, and this is what Hong Kong series have been. Let's take a look. Hong Kong Sevens kick off on Friday for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic began, but the virus control may dampen the high-octane rugby tournament's famous hard-parting atmosphere.
The tackle.
The 3-day sporting Jambora will see 16 men's team compete over the weekend, but no show for women's tournaments that usually run in parallel. Among the favorites for the competition, which kick off the 2023 season and qualification for the 2024 Olympic in Paris, are Fiji, Australia, New Zealand and Samoa. The Olympic champions are on lucky territory in Hong Kong, having won the last 5 editions and a record 19 titles in the city, more than any other team. They'll be defending the cup they won more than 3.5 years ago. Off the pitch, officials are eager to reboot the sports and tourism sector and declare a return to normality after years of pandemic travel curbs. The tournament reliably drew a daily stadium crowd of 40,000 before the pandemic, right up until its last edition in April 2019. This year, the stadium is capped at 85% capacity because of pandemic rules, and organizers are aiming for 30,000 plus a day. A major test for tournament will be bringing back overseas spectators who used to account for nearly half of ticket sales weeks after Hong Kong scrapped hotel quarantine for international rivals. Organizers spent months negotiating with the government to find a middle ground between its strict public health rules and allowing the rowdy festivities that have become synonymous with the Sevens. Face masks remain compulsory and spectators must present negative virus test results and use Hong Kong contact tracing app to enter the stadium. According to South China Morning Post, economists estimate that this year's tournament will bring in less than $38.2 million, down from the past years. For Damian McCrath, charge heads to Hong Kong rugby tournament with one goal in mind, improving their performance from last edition.
Very passionate.
Well, that was, the expectation of Damian McCrath, that is the Shuja's head coach, to improve from the previous edition. But as things stand now, same Shuja, same story, and new season. What to expect? It's a mystery, but we hope, just as he had anticipated, and he hopes, and the vision that he has for his team, that he will actually end on a high note. Last season, Kenya finished 12th on the log, and this time they are targeting at least top 8 finish. If we manage to scoop that, then it will be a dream come true. Well, yesterday was a disaster. Talk less of today. We have seen, Shuja's same mistakes, silly and simple mistakes costing the team. They were thrashed by Ireland, and today in the morning still Argentina, of which has been head shoulder, above Shuja's by all pedigree. What will it take for us, to improve?
That is strategy. Honestly, I didn't see Ireland winning against Kenya at the first game. It was something that I never expected at all. But all in all, it happened. We strategize again. But Argentina, that even last time I told you, Kenya's been doing bad against Argentina all along. But then they have to re-strategize and go back to the drawing board, check things out, and come up with a perfect game plan for the next game. Yeah.
Well, when you look at Shujas, of course we know it's a blend of experienced and inexperienced players. That kind of blend, of course, brings in, a lot of balance in a team. But in the previous edition, they really struggled. This time around, they're still struggling. The question is now, just how strong, is Argentina? Why is it so hard for Kenya? When you look at even body size, the muscles, everything, you'll see it's a 50-50 affair. But at the end of the day, we end up losing. Is it about the inexperience or the mistakes that we make that cost us, or what is it? It's hard to understand.
It's really hard to understand, but I think there's mistakes and maybe in the strategy plan or game plan or something like that. But I believe so they'll do better in the coming games. Maybe kutoka mapema sio kufika mapema.
But as far as this Hong Kong tournament is concerned, it is done and dusted. There is no trophy for Kenya. Actually, they have been knocked out of main competition. They were to win their match against Argentina and of course Canada for them to rekindle their chances of reaching the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
But that dreams actually will have to be postponed for yet another year, probably, for that to happen. And if we look at, let's see about the results, of course, I don't know if we have that result of Kenya versus Ireland and of course Argentina.
Yeah.
The margin is what is really worrying me. We had scored at least in the first game. We had at least scored 2 tries, but we failed to convert because conversion is a key. When you have a first try, then you convert. That is, of course, direct 7 points. But when you fail, it costs you
0
at the end of the day. So that is something that we really have to work on it, because we really need to see the glory days of 2016. We're talking about the Singapore. The Kenya of Singapore. What happened? What
Really?
happened?
There's something wrong with the Sugar Sevens. Yeah.
All right, and there is some even other teams that we have seen this time. They have really start on a slow foot. We're talking about the dominance of South Africa. Actually, they were thrashed with England, a rare feat for South Africa. And beside Kenya, of course, our only hope is South Africa there, because the unity of African countries. But this time, they have really, their performance hasn't been that quite okay. Remember, the last season they were on top of the log until somewhere the last game that Australia actually overpowered them and carry the crown. So the 2022 edition of the World Rugby Sevens actually was won by Australia after South Africa had really dominated for quite a while.
Yeah.
And there is a more surprising team that is really, they are synonymous with winning this particular tournament. We're talking about Fiji.
Yeah, Fiji.
Yeah.
Fiji, if you look at their players, I really think their players compared to our players, they are very good players. Yeah, in terms of bodybuilding, in terms of game plan or how they play. Have you ever watched game of Fiji?
Yeah, I've really followed, Fiji's game.
Yeah, those guys, the way they're playing, the way they're organized in the game, they really converts. That's what makes them up there. Yeah.
Well, their first game was against New Zealand, and actually they really thrashed New Zealand.
Yeah.
That was massive. It was a massive win for them. And for a team of New Zealand's caliber, then that shows the strength and the magnitude of this particular competition. And when you see a team like Fiji, they have kept 100% record win. They beat the likes of New Zealand, Spain, and of course they beat USA. This is actually, I don't know, but I think this could be theirs. Do you think this is their season?
It might be. It might be. It might be.
But when you look at the arrangement of the teams, we have the likes of Fiji, USA, we have Australia. Australia, the champions, the defending champions of the 2022 season.
Yeah.
We have the likes of New Zealand, we have Spain, we have England, USA, South Africa. Of course, these are big team, but who do you think this time round probably will, come on top?
This time round, it's between Fiji and maybe Argentina. Yeah, I would like to watch the two teams at the finals. Yeah, it will be a very big game. Well, if it so happens.
Well, this is just the first of course, many series. This is the first. The first one is Hong Kong, and there is many more to come. Probably it's too early to judge for Kenya, for our team.
Yeah.
I do understand probably this will be like a wake-up call for them to relook and rearrange the way you have just said, to see their numbers, see where they probably might have backslided a bit and work on it. But owing to the performance that we just saw between the two matches between Ireland and Argentina, do you see hope?
The best position might be 8th or maybe 8th or maybe 7th, around that place. but that will be an improvement from the last championship. Yeah, that will be an improvement, or what? It's an improvement from 12 to 8. It's an improvement. That's according to my own rating, according to their game plan as I saw it against Argentina or maybe Ireland, and the few games remaining. Yeah.
And this one will be used as Olympic qualifier, of course, for the 2024 in Paris. So any slip, then that means we'll be missing that one. We'll be missing that one. So we have every reason to fight for that particular crown. But there is some still, a few things that even you, for example, you're not sure about your team. Of course, for me, for this one, they will be forgiven. It's just a teaser for the game. But in the coming weeks, or rather in the coming series that we are just about to witness or even expect, I want to see a more dominant Kenya, a team that could muscle the likes of Argentina. Talk about England, USA. We have the potentials. We know our status. We know where we have been. There is a team that we have seen play, and we know that they are capable. They have quality players, quality technical bench, everything. Marshall it up, even supports that they receive. So for me, I see a more diverse team in the coming years. And of course, there is another some good news, and that is Lionesses in the Africa, and of course Africa, Cup in Uganda, and of course Lioness roared against Uganda. So do you see, in as much as the big boys, letting Kenya down, at least we have someone, bringing the touch that really Kenyans expect. How about some Lioness performance?
It was quite good. Against Uganda. They won. They played a very good game, and they deserved it. It made us proud.
And actually, this bring in some very important aspect of it, the development of women rugby. For so long, and I won't be shy to say it, I think women rugby hasn't really, given the attention that it deserves. Yet this is another area that, if really we can focus on that, then I see a team that can really, make Kenya proud. The last time they participated in, World Cup there in Chile, and we saw what they did. So this is a team with potential, and it's a good team. So going forward, this is some of the things that we do expect. But all in all, these teams being put together, and of course the disappointment of Kenya, tomorrow there is Kenya versus Canada. What's your prediction for tomorrow's match?
Tomorrow, Kenya versus Canada. Okay, I think I might give it to Kenya. Yeah.
Well, the last edition, the last time we played against Canada, of course, we emerged top. So Canada is not that really strong team, and I reckon tomorrow is the day for Kenya to rise again and show us what they got. Well, that is bring it to an end. That is this particular local sports review. Up next is international sports review. We'll be taking you through a series of sports activities that really happened during this particular week. Champions League in particular, and of course the most and eagerly awaited English Premier League, the title of the Battle of the Titans, and that is the London Derby between Chelsea and Arsenal. And of course, still yet another big match that will be played still tomorrow, Liverpool and Tottenham. Quite a weekend, of course, full of football fun. Who do you think will carry that particular 3 points or even carry the day? Is it the Blues or the Gunners? Well said. We take this particular break. When we come back, international review up next.
If you go back to the love contract, there is a requirement for a contract, because we have said it's a property law, but it has an element of contract in it, in that the landlord and tenants agree. In the law of contract, for you to be able to enforce a contract, it is provided that it must be evidenced in writing, especially if it is relating to land.
Imagine living in a society that embraces social justice and equal opportunities for all. On Woman Crush Wednesday, Rise Today, we bring you experts for meaningful conversations on matters gender equality.
Mimi nasaona hakuna gender equality as we speak.
So we continuously work with the men.
I feel that they're judging the girl. Parenthood.
Mind is very important in infertility.
Mental and physical health.
You need to be surrounded by a proper network. After nimeanza healing process, nilikumbuka kuhusu boys da senye niliacha ghetto. Like kila wakati nilikuwa najaribu kutafuta mbinu yenye naweza wafikishia jumbe.
I feel like if you have 15 minutes, if you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever amount of time, use it, because any physical activity is beneficial. No physical activity is dangerous for you.
And we touch on current affairs.
Marrying is a journey. It means you're taking a journey together.
I'm dying to be different. Changamoto ziko, but you can't sit there saying, oh, mimi nitafanya mziki siku yenye dozi takampe. You look at this person and you're like, wow, they just woke up and they found themselves here.
Join us every Wednesday morning at 7 to 10 a.m. here on Rise Today Woman Crush Wednesday. I am your host, Nina Gikunda.
The KICD, which stands for Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, have developed a coding syllabus that will be enshrined in the CBC curriculum. And with equipment such as this, the electronic kit, this will help the country achieve this particular agenda.
So you'll find that the kit doesn't tell you start from, when it comes to the motherboard, start at button 8 or start at button 4. It's just a plain motherboard. Every kit comes with a manual. It's something that the kid is able to use at home in case the parent buys and goes with it at home, and the kid is also able to use it at school.
This is my jam down.
I say man, I will never give up. Na hata nikifuta away. Show me something.
Everybody wanna feel like me.
You're just like a river.
Real thing, if I never mama, I wouldn't believe it.
Tell me when I say yes.
Alfajiri ya kupendeza ni siku njema, siku yenye baraka. Nishachomoza na amsha wote waliolala. Vyema na vizuri, ndugu wakishika pamoja kwa amani.
Nasikia sauti nzuri kama ya malaika, ni sauti toka mbinguni, sauti ya
Mimina, tufurahi mimina, Bwana mimina, leo mimina, neema mimina.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Is Yes, welcome back. And in case you're just following us or rather joining us right now, remember, this is On the Spot. You can follow this particular conversation on our social media platform, Facebook at KUTV Kenya, Twitter at KU_Kenya, and remember you can tag me along at AU_012, and remember to use the hashtag On the Spot. Of course, now we jump direct into international sports review, and this is particularly we're talking about midweek games that were played in the Champions League and the Europa League. Quite a lot has happened. We have seen quite a lot of surprise team that actually we didn't expect to see them folding and going home. And we're talking about the likes of Barcelona, talk about Juventus, the mighty Juventus, and talk about Ajax, the teams that have been there for quite long. We have seen them progressing to other sports, other stages of UEFA Champions League, and this time round they'll be playing in the Europa. Same case to Sevilla and Bayern Leverkusen. Well, gentlemen, now we're being joined by Eugene. This particular week has been amazing and quite interesting, and a few surprises. We have seen the likes of Barcelona bidding bye-bye to Champions League, and of course they'll be joining the likes of Manchester United if they manage of course to secure that playoff, but we can say they'll be joining the like of Arsenal in the Europa League, and it's not a walkover because the history of Arsenal and Barcelona. We want that
Barcelona very badly. The last time we met, Messi was there, and Arsenal was playing against Messi, not Barcelona. So we really want Barcelona.
You want
in
Barcelona?
Round of 16, yeah.
All right. And if you ask, they say knock, ask, and it shall be given to you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You might be surprised. And of course, lately Arsenal hasn't been, really giving us the touch, leave alone the 5 thrashing of Nottingham Forest. Small team per se, but it has been 1-0, and that's all.
That's all.
Well, now, gentlemen, let's talk about the fall of big teams, the likes of Barcelona, and of course Juventus there, Ajax, Sevilla. What do you have to say about that? What went wrong?
For me, nasema kitu moja, mpira udunda, because during the group stages, kwa kina group stages ilikuwa ni ati the likes of kina Benfica watapenya, the likes of kina Ajax they would proceed to the next round, but when it comes to football, game ni 90, and we saw what happened. I may say that they just strategized and went to Europa. This is Champions League, not any other league. It's Champions League. The champions play in this league. Yeah.
Actually, I agree with you.
Yeah.
The big boys.
Yeah.
The big boys game, not small boys game.
Thursday night football. Thursday night football.
Thursday night football for Arsenal. We are sorry, my brother. But
we shall be there. Next season we shall be there.
How do you How will you sum the performance of the big boys, the likes of Juventus now, who have been fallen, the falling giants, the sleeping giants, Juventus? Talk about Barcelona, and by the way, Atletico Madrid on the mix. Bayern Leverkusen, Sevilla, the mighty Sevilla. There, how would you sum it up? How would you describe what actually went wrong this time round?
Actually, for Barcelona, I saw it coming personally. And the Juventus equally, I saw it. Juventus, as for now, I think they are position 7 or something. And they still have Allegri. Actually, Allegri was awarded another contract, being that he has this poor performance, being dropped back in the Europa, and he was still awarded a contract. But actually, how I take this, it was a shock for Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Actually, I think them playing against was it Manchester City at semi-finals last season?
Quarters.
Or at quarters, yeah. I thought they were going to make it beach at a far much level, but then it never happened. So for them, I never saw it coming. Yeah.
Well, there is another team that has, you know, for quite a while, many people, they have been playing amazing football. You're talking about Ajax. Is it that they were systematically gutted of their best players? Because in the recent years, we have seen a lot of their players moving to the big leagues like England, Serie A, and of course Bundesliga. Could that be the reason why this team is really struggling this time round?
Yes, actually. It's like they were crippled. You find that Hala moved to Dortmund, their best striker, who was actually the best striker at the Champions League last season. Yeah. And then Lisandro Martinez, their defender, went to Man United following the coach, and Anthony, actually also their winger. So they were like demobilized.
They were crippled.
Yeah, they were crippled.
All right. Well, Manchester United crippled Ajax, and Dortmund did that. And I remember some time back, Chelsea also, you know, gutted them with Ziyech.
Yeah.
And teams like Juventus, they took Delight, and Bayern took De Jong.
Yeah.
And of course, this is a team that have really produced quality players, the stars. So long it's like a commercial-based team. Having said that, they'll have to, you know, reap their own kiburi, and it's now happening. Well, that is one team. Third one, Diego Simeone's team, Atletico Madrid. Of all the teams, why Atletico? Atletico, for quite a long time, they have been known for playing the hard ball, and of course, penetrating Atletico Madrid defense has been, you know, an uphill task. And most of the time, we'll see them progress even to quarters. But this time, you know, living at the group stages, quite a shame. What happened? They have stars in that particular team. Talk about Antonio Griezmann.
Joao Felix.
Joao Felix. We have Lemar. Just to mention a few. Carrasco. Quality players, strikers, defenders. Their goalkeeper, arguably one of the best. Yeah. What happened? Oblak. The mighty Oblak. But yet, with the best and experienced coach, the team still fumbled.
So for me, I may say that they did take their chances pretty well. If you can recall the last game before the match day 5, they were awarded a penalty at the last minute, but Carrasco failed to convert the penalty. If he had scored the penalty, they could have progressed even to the Europa League, because the group was tight. They were almost the teams in the group were tying in points, but the goal difference in our separate. So if Carrasco would have converted the penalty, they would have progressed to the next round. But if if it's not your luck, it's not your luck.
All right.
Even if of the best, even we saw in last year's semi-finals, we had the best as in terms of Man City. We were leading at the first leg. We went to Santiago Bernabeu and scored the first goal, but during the last minutes, we were outshined, and the brilliance of Ancelotti came in, and we were dropped off and tukatolewa kwa hiyo mchezo. So nasema your luck plays a good part in football. Na game ni 90.
Well, I think for you guys, Manchester City, actually yours is just a curse.
They are to the curse.
That's a hundo. It's a hundo for you guys. And you need prayers. You need prayers.
Kama tulita Ture tukampatia birthday moja kubwa Katari sana hapo Etihad. So for us this season is ours.
Well, we have to really fight big boys. When it comes to Champions League, City are small boys.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
It's good to set the record straight. City are small boys. You have to battle big boys. And of course, when we talk about, I wanted us to have that particular graphics of the big losers, so that you can have a big idea of what we are talking about these big losers. Another team that last time, really performed quite amazing is Bayer Leverkusen. This time round, you see this team, they always go to Europa. And actually, this is where the big trouble is. if all these teams, the big ones, let's say Juventus, Barcelona, Sevilla, Bayern, and Ajax, if you ask me, one of these teams, if they go to Europa, one of them will be the champion. One of them will carry Europa.
Why are you leaving out Arsenal?
For me, I don't think if Arsenal can stand a chance against, let's say, Juventus.
You know, Arsenal they're playing a beautiful football.
You can play beautiful football, but remember, this is a team that was beaten by PSV and remember. So for me, I'm not convinced about Arsenal's status.
Manchester United.
Manchester United is a small team.
That's true.
Manchester United
is a small team.
It's a small team. I know many will argue, but a small team in a big pond. So actually they will drown. If you ask me, I don't see Manchester United, winning Europa League. That will be a dream for them. Actually, it's a nightmare for them. And with the big boys right now coming in, Manchester United, give them Arsenal.
They'll be trashed.
Like nobody's business.
Roma is still in the Europa.
Roma is there, but we're talking about teams with history.
Barcelona,
Sevilla. The records. They hold records. In every Europa game that they have participated, it's only one time that particular title eluded them. But this time round, they're there. They're specialists in winning.
It's the same Sevilla that we thrashed during the friendlies. And took a cup from them. We actually won a cup from them.
It was a cup. It's called the Emirates Cup.
Yeah.
What's about you know some schemes?
You will meet Sevilla. You will meet Barca. You will meet Bayern Leverkusen. You will meet Ajax. You will meet Juventus. You will meet Manchester United. You will meet Roma. And the big teams. And for me, I see disaster and chaos there. So for me, for Manchester, for Arsenal, surviving will be, in God's grace hands. We hope that. Well, now let's switch focus now to England. Of course, we are talking about the big matches that will be played today. Of course, City will be playing today. Will be playing Fulham, and the big match will be today. There is no that big match, but still there is a team that is really really surprising. Their performance this season have been quite amazing. Talking about Newcastle United. Is it the money? Money seems to have some influence. Remember, this is a team that nowadays it's putting in five past a team. Remember the way they thrashed Aston Villa? Oh my goodness. Who could have thought?
Klopp placed such allegations, about the money on Newcastle, that they can't compete against team with money. They can, in that these teams can do anything,
Alright.
And now I was comparing the the Newcastle's players and the Liverpool players, and I was asking myself, which team is expensive?
Well, I think
in terms of player-wise.
Well, I think in case of Liverpool, they don't have expensive squad. Mohamed Salah was bought for, was it 35? 35 from Roma.
It's only Van Dijk.
Only Van Dijk. Van Dijk and Nunes. The rest, some of them are academy players. No, they have expensive players.
They have expensive
the
players.
The keeper. But Klopp has a point. You can't compete with a team that has money. They can do anything. If Newcastle want to buy Mohamed Salah, they'll go and buy Mohamed Salah because they have money. So money speaks.
Actually, it's right.
Money speaks. Well, but where do you see Newcastle this time round?
I'm fasting Newcastle playing in Europe next year. That's my only dream. They get back to Europe next year. Hata kama ni conference or Europa League or maybe but Champions League for the big boys. Let's say Europa or Conference League. Asking them to play next year.
All right. Now, last weekend, of course, we saw some, a bit touch here and there. And one match in particular, of course, was Chelsea versus Brighton. My goodness, it was a heartbreaking experience, and you being the teacher going to your school, and of course being punished
severely.
So how would you sum up Chelsea versus Brighton? 4-1. It was massive, quite huge.
It's quite huge. Naweza sema ni aje, Brighton are playing a direct football, yani wanakukujia tu, unaona. So for portable ni ile pole tuanze na keeper tuende hivi, defender chukue na mbele, unaona. But Brighton wanakuja kwako, so ndio unapata Chelsea, unapata Chelsea wanapiga a lot of mistakes at the back, na maana wakafunga bao kwanza na mistake, 2 own goals, unaona. So nasema it was a kudos for Brighton to teach Potter that even if you have left us, we still have someone better than you, no? Touching you 4-1. Nikwambia tu bado tuko. Yeah.
Well, do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember before Potter going back to Brighton, the new tactician, I think it's a Portuguese, he had drawn a couple of 3 matches and a loss. So his record is not that quite impressive. The football, the transformation of football that we see in Brighton is courtesy of Graham Potter. So all credit, the pressing football, the beautiful football that they play, all that thanks to Potter. Tell me that the magic did not work for him.
Actually, not the magic. It's all players in his tactic. Yeah, it was like Trojanos, where okay, let me leave the story of the Trojanos. The Brighton players, you find that they were being taught by Potter before, during the last season at a bit, then this season. You find that they were much well conversant with the Potter ball, and now Potter took his ball to Chelsea, and now the players themselves, not even the coach, the players themselves knew how the mentality of how Chelsea players would think, how they would attack, and everything. So they had to work against that because they knew what was going on. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't agree with you on that one.
You don't.
No, I think you know, that day, it was on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday was the worst day in Chelsea history. It was a day of, a wake-up call, of course. The boys, actually, they really partied a lot. You know, against Champions League, some victory here and there, some celebration, hangovers. So that one, the entire lose, I will blame it on partying. You know, then Brighton took advantage of Chelsea's, partying mood. Let them come.
Football don't have reasons to nini your defeat.
Yeah.
Kufunika nini wako defeat yako, unaona, because you are 3 points, will drop 3 points, and Brighton even, I think, waliruka kwa table ama they were above you on the table. So
sasa story na table. Wachie watu wa table.
Wachie Arsenal na Man City.
Sasa hii wacha tuongee portable.
Portable is inafanya kazi kwa timu zingine, but if it comes to your own team, you really manage for almost 2 to 3 years, inakushinda, inakuonyesha bado kuna kitu haufanyi, inafaa ufanye.
Talking about portable,
yeah.
Tomorrow it's Potter versus Arteta.
Yeah.
Well, it is a battle like no other.
Yeah, two rising managers.
I think two established managers.
Okay.
They have really proven their point, of course.
Yeah.
I think for Potter, of course, he has managed a team like Brighton, and we have seen the quality that he brings in the team. He has really, transformed Brighton. You see the way they are playing amazing football, and that is the reason why Chelsea actually poached him from Brighton. So tomorrow, it is a game mind between the two, rising coaches with no record, of course, whatsoever. Arteta has never won any league. Same to Potter. He has never won. This will be the first time each of them will be eyeing. Chances are they might, both, end up without winning anything, or both win. Because we still have a lot. We have UEFA, We have Carabao Cup. There is FA. There is the league. There is still draw. You have Europa, but soon you'll be bidding goodbye. So what next for you? So actually, let's talk about tomorrow's game. Who do you think will carry the day? Arsenal.
Yeah. If things are tough, then a draw.
A draw.
Yeah. Not Chelsea.
Ajamaa wako na madharau. Kesho tunatoa kiburi.
Vibaya sana. I'm fasting a Chelsea win. Yeah, wapiga watu vibaya. So unajua ajamaa wanaringa joko top of the table. Wanaona hiyo table ni ngayo zitoka ati wako tu hapo tu yani. Chelsea tuwanyorosha vibaya sana. I'm fasting a Chelsea win.
So tomorrow it's for you know, if we beat Arsenal, it's a favor for you.
Yeah.
You climb.
Yeah.
And you dominate at least for a while, right?
20 World Cup ka number 1.
And then Chelsea comes overtake and
Chelsea yes itakuwa ndoto. Hiyo sana inakuwa ndoto ya mchana. Chelsea ndio ikuje number 1. Labda mko mnaota because kuna Arsenal, kuna Newcastle.
But you are beating these guys tomorrow.
What's your prediction at table at the end of the season?
So you want me to predict that you'll be number 1?
I just put Man City on top. No cause of alarm. Weka Man City juu ya meza.
Man City number 1 ndio. Then Portable kuja hapo. Number 2 sijui. Lakini si Arsenal. Arsenal number 6 hapo 5. Unaona?
Vile inafaa.
Yaani pale meza sitaki mtu kujua iko ni aje. Huko ni wapi? Mpaka tu meza 6-5. Unaona?
Hii ndio joke of the day.
Well, let's move on to yet another interesting, match tomorrow. Liverpool
versus
Tottenham.
That's a huge match by the but vile mimi naona if you saw this midweek UEFA League, Tottenham walipata ma injuries, the likes of Son, the likes of Højbjerg. Romero bado hajarudi fit. Na Romero is a strong defender. Yani anasaidia sana Tottenham hapo nyuma. And if you watch contest ball, it's a defensive game. So if your best defenders are not in the pitch, how will you compete against an attacking side like Liverpool? Liverpool like forms, ndio. But Liverpool against big teams inapiga vibaya sana. We saw the likes of Man City, sorry to say, walitupiga. The likes of AC Milan, not AC Milan. Napoli walipiga Napoli. So against big teams Liverpool ina shine, but against small team like Nottingham inapigwa. So Tottenham I may say it's a big team. So for me naweza sema Liverpool will win because of the injuries that Tottenham have. Yeah.
Well, for me I will pray for a draw.
A draw is good. You're protecting your position.
You're protecting your position.
A draw will do it for me. But I will really want for Liverpool to win. I will really want for Liverpool to really beat the hell out of Tottenham. Kila mtu awekwe bahari pake. Watu watulie wenyewe.
Where you belong, yeah.
Where you belong. This actually the league is now taking shape.
Yeah.
You will know them by their fruits. Now we are expecting to see something.
We will see tomorrow.
From tomorrow, things are taking shape. The number 1, the number 2, the number 3, and 4, and the Europa guys to compete for their space. Well, tomorrow things will take shape. Yeah, that is what I foresee. And it's going to be quite a very interesting match. And of course, even Arsenal, in their own rights, they are the league leaders for now, at least. But comes tomorrow, things will change. And they'll tell me. Next week.
Yeah.
Well, Nottingham Forest, the team that you really, dismantle the entire existence. Yes, last weekend. Now these teams have really come to give to award other teams some points, free points. Each team smiling with it. Even Arsenal managing to keep a clean sheet.
Ile ilikuwa kutoa tu hasira. Against ile lose ya PSV ile ilikuwa kutoa hasira.
But one wonder that the Nottingham side wali sign watu players like 21 players, but they're still losing to Arsenal. So what are they doing in the league? They're just awarding Arsenal points, because how can you beat Liverpool then you are being thrashed 5-0 the next weekend by Arsenal? jamaa waliongea tu hapa chini ya maji.
Inakuonyesha tu penye Arsenal liko. Hii inakuonyesha penye Arsenal liko bana.
Well, that's bring it to an end of this particular show. It has been amazing, and we appreciate your always esteemed company for the last 1 hour and 50 minutes or so, for always tuning in and choosing On The Spot as your number one sports show. Of course, until next time, remember we always do this every Saturday here at KUTV, and this is quite pretty more and many much to expect in the coming years. Many thanks to all those who made this production a success. Of course, matters to do with, camera work, that is Jovial and Wanjohi. Thank you so much for that. My director, Mr. Rex, and Media Maina, matters to do with sounds and graphics, entire of all production. It is a bye-bye from us. Until then, see you next time.